Hello guys, this is Steno for All YouTube channel. Here we provide you Hindi or English shorthand dictations at different speed. Today I am going to provide you English dictation at the speed of 80 which will help you in various Steno skill tests. Get ready for 80 word per minute shorthand dictation. Start. While everyone else can avoid exposure to COVID-19, healthcare workers have to work in high-risk environments with repeated exposure to infection. Vulnerable groups such as the elderly and those with comorbidities have five-fold to 15-fold greater mortality when they get COVID-19 than others. Therefore, healthcare workers and vulnerable groups need to be treated as priority categories for vaccination when the COVID-19 vaccine is available. Protecting against COVID-19. Two COVID-19 vaccines have been accepted for phase 3 trials after passing the phase 1 trial for safety and the phase 2 trial for both safety and the vaccine's ability to induce a virus neutralizing antibody with or without T cell mediated immunity. Vaccine induced immunity has not yet been proven to protect against COVID-19, but the likelihood of protection is quite high for the following reasons. Natural infection induces both a virus neutralizing antibody and T cell mediated immunity. Convincing reports of reinfection by the novel coronavirus in previously infected individuals are extremely rare, suggesting that natural infection is indeed protective in the vast majority. When a vaccine candidate produces similar immune responses, the probability of it being protective against the disease is high. A vaccine that has passed phase 2 should therefore be assumed to be protective unless proved otherwise in a phase 3 trial, which will provide additional evidence of freedom from rare side effects. Once cleared in phase 3, the vaccine is registered by the Drug Regulatory Agency and vaccination of the general public carried out as per national policy. Interim reports on phase 1 and phase 2 vaccine trials from China with an inactivated whole virus vaccine using mercaptoethanol instead of formalin to minimize immunological lung injury have demonstrated immunogenicity and short-term safety. A phase 3 trial is in progress. India is embarking on a phase 3 trial with a similar vaccine. The objective of vaccination is threefold. In the short term, to protect vulnerable individuals from serious disease and death, to protect occupationally exposed individuals from acquiring and unwittingly transmitting infection to their patients and family, and eventually to eradicate the viral infection. The measure of effectiveness of a vaccine is how many infections and how many deaths it can prevent rather than how high the antibody titer will be, because antibodies are only surrogate markers of protection. To demonstrate that the vaccine achieves the short term objectives, it is important that the vaccine trials include a good proportion of special groups of individuals. The twin clinical outcomes of reduced mortality in vaccinated vulnerable individuals and reduced infection rates among healthcare workers will quickly provide unequivocal clinical measures of vaccine efficacy. Under normal circumstances, phase 3 vaccination trials include only health adult volunteers, and once the vaccine is found to be safe and effective, small bridging studies are conducted among vulnerable subjects. However, in the pandemic situation, if vulnerable groups are deliberately included from the beginning in phase 3 trials using a special study design, when the trial is over, we can proceed straight away to immunizing these subgroups. The Drug Regulatory Agency should recognize this risk based categorization of the public and help design the phase 3 trial in which vulnerable people and healthcare workers are preferentially given an opportunity to register themselves as volunteers. Obtaining information on vaccine efficacy and safety from these subgroups is of paramount importance to facilitate prioritized vaccination of those who did not have an opportunity to enroll as volunteers for the trial and those who got placebo injection. Why healthcare workers? There are several reasons why healthcare workers, particularly those above age 55, should volunteer for and be included in phase 3 trials. Historically, healthcare workers have often been the first to volunteer to participate in several physiological and pharmacological studies of an experimental nature. This attitude is more appropriate now than ever before in the context of COVID-19 vaccination trials. Participation of healthcare workers will motivate and enthuse members of the general public to participate in the trial and make recruitment easier. The loss of many colleagues, mandatory quarantine of increasing numbers of infected healthcare workers, the struggle to cope with the escalating number of cases in the face of workforce depletion, and the worries about risk to their immediate family have eroded the morale of all healthcare workers in India. inclusion of healthcare workers in the phase 3 vaccine trial may prove to be the silver lining and boost the sagging morale of healthcare workers. Healthcare workers, in particular doctors and nurses, understand controlled clinical trials and the safety features in vaccine production and would be better able to provide informed consent. Further, they will clearly understand that half the enrolled subjects receive only a placebo and therefore no one will flout personal protection norms even after receiving the vaccine trial injection. Information on side effects, a vital deciding factor in vaccine acceptability, is easy to collect and document if healthcare workers are part of the trial. Self reported adverse events with